Okay, on channel 1 today, let me show you. On channel 1 today, they were talking about a controversial bill that was being introduced and actually just passed, and now has become law in Tennessee. Does anybody know what that is? Hold on a second. Let me pull it up. Right here. All right. Here's a news station. Given it's educationnews.org, I guess, given their interpretation of the bill, and it's pretty much the same. This is what you heard on channel 1. Now, pay attention. Try to stick with me, okay? Governor Bill Haslam might not like to teach the controversy idea of becoming part of Tennessee's science curriculum, but not enough to veto it. Okay? Last week, after he failed to act on a bill passed both by chambers of the state's legislation that would, now here's what the bill is supposed to do. Okay, this is what the bill is supposed to do. Would protect teachers who wish to, quote, cover scientific strengths and scientific weaknesses of existing scientific theories on evolution. What does that mean? Yeah.
Like that God didn't create the world, that it was all science or whatever that created.
Okay, you said that God did or didn't create the world, but science did, right? Yeah. Now that is actually one of the reasons why I'm talking to you. Because in this bill it mentions nothing about God or religion. If you actually read it, it says, wish to cover the scientific strengths and scientific weaknesses of a theory, of existing theories. Okay, let me put it like this. Alright, back in the day, you know, science itself evolves. Back in the day, we used to believe the earth was flat. You ever remember hearing about that back in your books and stuff? Well, guess what? New science came out, we know it's round, okay? Majority opinion might have been that the earth was flat then, but new evidence shows us that it's round. Okay, what was another theory that's different today than what it was earlier? The sun. Does the sun revolve around the earth?
No.
No. But did we used to think that? Yeah. We know now that the earth revolves around the sun. Okay, another more modern example is the study of quantum physics. Okay, Newtonian, now this might be a little bit top, but Newtonian physics used to have explanations for the laws of gravity. Well, because of quantum physics, we're now learning that gravity acts a little bit different than we thought. There's nothing wrong with that. We're just saying as science evolves and we have more tools to measure, you know, scientific theories, you know, the science opinion might change. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? However, the problem with it is for some reason, guys, and this is where I have a problem. For some reason, it says this: critics of the legislation contend that this is simply another attempt to insert religion into the public schools science classroom after previous attempts to teach creationism and intelligent design, okay? Because back in the day, yeah, they were trying to teach creationism inside the schools. It got shot down. I'm fine with that because, look, theology is about God. You know, like biology is bios-ology. Bios is the study of life. Ology is the study of. Theos is God. Ology is the study of God. So theology is not science, okay? Theology has to do with God. It's over here. Science is over here. You guys see the distinction I'm trying to paint here? You guys with me? Yeah. Science is science. Religion is religion. If you want to talk about religion creationism, where do we go to do that? Church. Okay? Ask them. Now, I'm interested in the science, and that's why I want to actually test this theory on you right now. Okay? First off, what is science? What does science mean? It means to know. It's a study of observations, okay? It's to know stuff. How do we know a lot of things we know? Well, because we study it. How do we find what we know? Based on what? Evidence. How do we get evidence? By observation and experiment. Or do you guys agree? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the way it is. You look at observations, you make, experiments, you find out if it's right or not. Okay? Now, has anybody heard of evolution?
Yes.
What is it? Does anybody know?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
What is it?
That humans came from monkeys.
Humans came from monkeys. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yeah, right there.
Life.
Life.
It's the study of when we evolved from like fish, then like into certain other animals. And then, like,
All right. In life over time, a textbook that's used today, okay, at different levels, could be middle school, could be younger, has evolution defined as this, okay? Man, this isn't my words. I'm just telling you what it says. In biology, evolution refers to the process through which species change over time. Okay, that's a pretty good definition. Change over time, right? Evolution. I should have somebody write for me because I'm horrible at it. Change over time. Got really bad handwriting. Evolutions change over time. Okay? Evolution is change over time. Now, the distinction in evolution is very broad. Hey, you know what? Planets and stars evolve over time. I mean, how do you think they propose that we got planets in the first place? Well, planets used to be stardust. Stardust evolved and makes planets. Okay, that's the type of cosmic evolution. We're talking about biological evolution. How does life and species arise from other species? Well, there's two different definitions included with this general term. There's macroevolution. Now here's where just please pay attention. I talk fast, but I get a lot of information out, all right? Promise you guys might not forget this if you pay attention. There's evolution, there's microevolution, and there's macroevolution. All right, let's talk about them. Who has a dog at their house? What kind of dog you got? Pit bull. All right, what do you got?
Dachshund.
How do you spell that?
I'm not sure. It's like D-U... It's spelled Dutch.
Do you say Dotson?
Yeah, it's spelled Dutch hound.
All right, what do you got?
A Shih Tzu.
Okay. Oh boy, I don't want to sound like yeah. Boxer, I used to have one of those. Okay, that's good enough. We'll take those. All right, I'm going to write down these here. Okay, I'm going to write down this, and we'll do this. Let's do this.
Tigers are cats.
All right, let's suppose that we go ask a kindergarten this question. We said, okay, between a pit bull, a dachshund, a shih tzu, a boxer, a coyote, a fox, a wolf, a rose, which one is different? Rose. Okay, that's very easy to spot. Okay, why? Because a rose is a type of flower, and a wolf, a fox, what are they? What can we call them?
Animals.
A dog. It's an animal, but it's a dog, okay? So, you know, pit bull, wolf, whatever, okay? Different types of dogs or different variations, but it's still a dog, okay? This proves microevolution, okay? Look, I believe in evolution, okay? I believe in microevolution only because the science points to it, okay? Scientific evidence shows us when we make observations and say that this is real, okay? You hear me? Variations happen within the kinds of animals, okay? So a rose is different, dogs are here. Now, what other evidence is there that supports microevolution that we change over time? Who's gotten a flu shot? Why do we have to get flu shots, new ones every year?
So we don't get the flu.
So you don't get the flu. What happens though? Let's say that you had the flu shot last year, but they say something happens to the virus between last year and this year to where we have to get a new flu shot. What?
Like your antibodies in your body like destroy the flu virus.
Well, what happens over time to the virus?
It changes.
It changes. That's really what I'm looking for. It does. The viruses change. AIDS virus, or HIV virus, for instance, like replicates really fast. Okay, so they do change. Okay, so microbiology and the study of viruses show that, yeah, viruses and stuff will change over time, but guess what? It's still a virus. Okay? That's microevolution, and it's true. It's this can be observed, as we were just talking about. We observe it in nature. You can look and see all different kinds of birds, all different kinds of snakes, but it's still a bird, it's a snake. It can be experimented, okay, in the laboratory. I'm with that. So where's the controversy? Why is there having to be a bill to protect teachers on this stuff? Here's where the catch is. Scientists will say, because we observe what we observe in microevolution, because we see different variations, we can observe them and experiment. Well, they then say, well, because we can observe on a small scale, we can extrapolate that to explain how all species evolved. Okay, how every species evolved. All right, here's an example. In biology, it's a biology textbook by Campbell, says this. Evolution is defined this way. Okay, pay attention, a little different. All the changes that have transformed life on Earth from its earliest beginnings to the diversity that characterizes today. Okay? So I like to say that from macroevolution, it's kind of like saying, okay, from the slime or the earliest goo to you. Okay? From the very, very first one. Who's ever heard of the tree of life? Heard of the tree of life? Yeah. Well, let's look at a picture of it. Here's kind of a good one. It doesn't show the pictures of the actual animals, but this says that from some early ancestor, literally all these species on Earth existed. Okay? So, what does that mean? That's like saying this. Arthropods Okay, you ever heard of arthropods?
Yeah.
There's 30 million, around 30 million different species. Okay, I can back these up with scientists that work in those fields, and actually these are quotes from scientists. Okay, this is what they study. There's 45 million nematodes. Okay, and chordates. That's like those are the backbones. Maybe 55 million species. There's a lot of different types of species. So that's saying that there's all these different variations, within, all the history of life. So where should we see all these variations? If there was all these different chordates, all these different animals that supposedly lived over billions of years ago, where do we look to find that evidence? Fossils, exactly. In the fossil record. You guys are pretty smart. Okay, somebody's been teaching you good. All right, now check this out. All of these millions and millions and millions of different variations, it's only one twig on this whole tree labeled as animals. Just animals. And right next to that's another modest plants. Okay, so what I'm trying to show you is to extrapolate from microevolution, small variations, to show that all life evolved. There has to be literally billions and billions and billions and billions of fossils. Okay, so where does the evidence point to? I'll show you. Fossil record. What does it show us? Well, here's what Charles Darwin said. Who's Charles Darwin?
A vampire.
No, not a vampire. Charles Darwin, he's a scientist, okay? Whenever they talk about evolution today in contemporary science, they talk about Darwinism. That's this process of natural selection over time. Here's what he says about the fossils. Okay? Now remember, this is science. Why, if species have descended from other species, by insensibly fine gradations do we not everywhere see innumerable transitional forms? Another one. Geology assuredly does not reveal any such finely graduated organic change. And this is perhaps the most obvious and serious objection which can be urged against the theory. But what does the textbook say about that? What's it, if that's true, what's the textbook say? Don't you think textbooks should reveal something like that? Textbook says, the geographic information about many fossils provides evidence that two species with a common ancestor can develop differently in different locations. An ancestor is an early form of an organism from which later forms descend. The idea of common ancestry is important to the theory of natural selection and to the evidence. So from this definition, does it sound like fossil evidence points to this whole theory that all of us came from basically one organism?
Yes.
Sounds like fossils support it. That contradicts what Darwin said. All right? Another quote right here. A guy named David Raup, he works today at the Chicago Field Museum of Natural History. Okay? He knows this stuff. He says, Darwin was completely aware of this. He was embarrassed by the fossil record because it didn't look like the way he predicted it would. All right? Now, Stephen Jay Gould, very famous, one of the greatest paleontologists and scientists of our day. He's passed, but his contributions to evolution were huge. Here's what he says. The evolutionary trees, remember this thing, the evolutionary trees, it's the one that's in your textbook, or I have a picture of it right here. The evolutionary trees that adorn your textbook have data only at the tips and nodes of their branches. The rest is inference, however reasonable, not the evidence of the fossils. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like on a graph. Check it out. Now, the fossil record actually, these lines right here are the evidence. Okay, these lines going up here are evidence. Okay, they actually have those fossils. All right, each one represents a different type of phylum. Okay, a different type of animal. Okay, now, how's Darwin's theory basically stack up against this? Well, according to Darwin's theory, everything started here and it branched off like that tree. Remember that tree I just showed you? It branched up like this. Well, let's read what the figure says. According to the theory of universal common descent, part of neo-Darwinian theory, the strata beneath the Cambrian rocks should show evidence that many ancestral and intermediate forms exist. Such forms have not been found for the vast majority of phyla. These anticipated and missing forms are represented by the gray circles. So all these gray circles that they say should be there, none of them exist in the fossil record. None of them. Okay? Now, this is science. This is where current scientific theory is our evidence is on the theory of evolution. Now, let me check in with you. Have I talked about God or religion? No. Okay. Have I showed you evidence based on observation experiment? Yeah. Okay. Now, let me read this. The question is, should science teachers teach all evidence in support of and against the current theory? What do you think? Yeah, I think it makes obvious sense. But then again, remember, that's exactly what the bill says. Cover scientific strengths. I showed you strengths. Look at all variation. Microevolution, it's true. We can observe it. Okay? And weaknesses. I just showed you one example, by the way, of many weaknesses as far as extrapolating it to say that we all came from one organism. Basically, my granddaddy's a banana or something, you know? The evidence of that is very small, all right? It doesn't say that it's wrong. You're welcome to believe in that. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But we should be able to look at the evidence and have no quarrels about that, all right? So, I'm allowed to show strengths and weaknesses of an argument. I should be able to as a science teacher. I want the truth to be out to you guys, whether it's good or bad. All right, or in support of a theory or not. All right? Yeah?
So you believe everything about science, like the scientists say?
I believe that all of us should actually, yeah, we should look and see where science is. I'm not saying you should base your truth off of that, because again, that jumps into the realms of philosophy and theology, okay? You know what I mean? You know where I'm going with that? Is you shouldn't base your truth off of only science, because that's a type of philosophy there called scientism. All right, where all you believe is science. You know, does that make sense? Well, ask it again. What's your question? Do I believe everything about science? Are you saying everything that's written in this textbook?
Like, no, like everything about like what scientists say.
No, I mean, as far as the tree of life goes, no, I don't believe in the tree of life because I haven't seen good evidence for it. If I'll put it that way. No, if I don't see good evidence for something, why should I believe it? You know, unless it's faith. That's where you start stepping into religion. Okay, once you start having to take a step of faith, even in science, that's a religion. Okay, science is about experiments and observations, not about belief. Okay, not about believing something. Okay, you got to be able to test it, and that's what's good about science. It provides the truth regardless of what you believe. All right. But however, remember the critics say that this is just another attempt to insert religion. I'm sorry, I'm against that. All right, science should be taught in the classroom. If you want to learn religion, that's great. Go outside and learn religion. But don't block us and you guys from learning the truth about theories. Okay? Yeah?
I have read, like, you know, I'm a pastor's kid, and, like, you know all this stuff about evolution, like, all these theories out there. And I saw a scripture in the Bible that's talk about, like, that dinosaur Brachiosaurus and, like, you know, stuff like that. So.
Okay. But again, he says pastor's kid, he saw in the Bible that there was maybe evidence for a dinosaur. But again, as a science teacher, I would say that's great. You know, for theology, for religion. I'm like, but, you know, we're still going to stick with the scientific topics. Like, that's what's neat. Maybe science teachers should learn how to stop the religious conversation when it gets brought up so they know the differences between religion and science. Again, if it comes down to experimental evidence, it comes down to observation that's in science. Now, that doesn't say the Bible's not true. But again, it takes faith to believe in the Bible, and it takes faith to believe in evidences when evidences aren't there. You with me? All right. One more thing. This textbook company here, CK12.org, had pictures in it just 2 days ago of these embryos. Okay? These embryos. Okay? They said this is evidence for evolution. Okay? This was just 2 days ago. These drawings were in there. Okay? Keep in mind. These drawings are fake. These drawings are 100% fake. Okay, a guy named Ernest Haeckel drew these a long time ago and got convicted for drawing them because they're fake. He was trying to push evolution and using this as fake evidence. He drew these. These aren't evidences of evolution at all. What he was trying to do was saying, okay, look, every single species, from a human to a hog to a fish, all look the same in the various small stage of its life, the embryo. But over time, it changed. But as you can see, they still look kind of similar. You see that? See how this one kind of looks similar to that one looks similar to that one? These are literally, I think these are literally the same. You know, they just try to make it look like all the species look the same anyway in the embryo. Real quick, these are the actual pictures. Notice the difference between that one and that one? Between this one and this one? Between this one and this one? Again, it's fake. And I saw it in this textbook 2 days ago. But guess what? You won't find it today because I told them about it and they removed it. Okay? Think for yourselves, guys. Think critically. Don't trust what I tell you or the science book tells you. Look for yourself, okay? I just want you to know the truth. All right, you guys were excellent today. I'm going to leave a good note for your teacher. All right, have a good day.
Nobody will watch movies.
More movies, huh?